Well, hey everybody, happy Sunday. Getting things set up for tonight's show starting in 6 minutes. So grab a soda, grab whatever you want to drink, and we'll be having the phone lines open here shortly. So hang tight. Hello, official Elizabeth 24 over on Instagram, Chris 25. Let's see here. That. Reset that. Oh, why is that so loud? Holy cow, that was loud. That just blasted my ears. All right, let me know you're out there. Where are you tuned in from? We're going to start in 5 minutes. We have this show and one more show with our old Skype number, and then it's hasta la vista, baby. We'll have a new system will hopefully work. We'll just mess with it as we go. Hello to Shinjo Walnuts 24 with a nice cat avatar over on Instagram. Big show starting in 5 minutes. How about we have some background music till we get there? Let's see. Media assets. What do we got in our media assets tonight? All right, I was waiting to hear back from Scott. He is not feeling well, but I hadn't heard from him all day, so it's gonna be a solo show. That's right. LGB, let's go Blues. What's up, Ground Crew? 23, and Brady. And then R2. Is that live for everybody? Or? That person turned up. That's better. That's better. I'm doing all right. Having a good weekend. It's a rainy one. Hey, Don. Hey there, how there. I'll need your calls because we're flying solo tonight. Just me and you. We shall start in 3 minutes. 3 minutes. B-Tab 1. Shout out over on Instagram. Hello. Dog named Blue. Saint from St. Louis. Problem with this is I'll hear the song the rest of the night. I'll be just walking around the house, Pam will be like, what are you doing? It's like I'm hearing the song that I played before the live show. She'll say, what song? I say, I don't know. It doesn't have a name. Good evening, Andrew. iPad tonight. Quick. Oof, 486 days. That's a long time. Good evening. He's going to Walt Disney World in January. How do I know? Just know things. Jessica's here. Oh my gosh, the Canadian geese are right outside my window. Of course, right in time for the show to start. They start honking. My hummingbird feeder is ready to go. It's got all the juice, but no hummingbirds yet. Just hoping. Hello, Jessica up in New Hampshire, and hello to Ryan. Wonk. Wonk. Oh, good. You can't hear him? Good. Maybe that's just music. We do have these wild... Man, we have a lot of people tuned in. We have these wild Canadian geese. There's two mean ones who just walk in my backyard all the time because the lake's right on the other side of the house behind us. I do not make my own hummingbird juice. I just go up to the farm and home supply store and get it. Then make your own. We can do Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween now, I guess, because it slowed down a little bit after the 2026 release. I'm glad it wasn't last week. All right, it's 6 o'clock. I say we shall start the show rolling. Scott down in Tennessee, what's going on? John's got 230 days till his trip. I have... Whoa, it's right there. Just missed it. I gotta wait until it goes all the way around. 70 days, 70 or so days. All right, get the show rolling here. Let's see. Oh, it's right there. Pause. Comments. All right, let's do this. Let's do a show. Got that paw. Okay, here we go. Oh, should probably record it. You guys, if everyone wants to hear it on Thursday, better record it on Sunday. All right, I will need your calls. Once we get the beginning of part of the show done, I will need some calls because I cannot talk for an hour. I'm in better shape than I was last week, though. I can tell you that. If you listen to Mike in the Midwest today, if you're a Patreon supporter, whew, yeah, that was not pretty. I talked all about it. All right, here we go. Well, hey, everybody. Welcome to the BOGP Open Line for Sunday night, April 27th, 2025. I'm your host, Mike Rallman from BeOurGuestPodcast.com and one of the senior agents over at the Magic for Less Travel. Happy Sunday night to you. Last one in April, second to last one where we get to use our original phone number. I know, I'm sad. I'm nostalgic for a phone number, right? But we're going to burn it up. We're going to use it this week. Next week, we're going to tear it down, and then we'll have a new phone number in 2 weeks. And we're going to cross our fingers that everything still works just right. We're going to have a good time talking Disney tonight over the next hour, so join me. It's just me here in the studios. I just got word that Scotty G's feeling a little bit under the weather. I knew something was wrong because I didn't see him on a golf course this morning. So maybe he's not feeling great this weekend. So hopefully he is bouncing back quickly. We're all thinking about Scotty G, and he'll be back soon. I know he'll be back soon. So we're going to have a good time, you and me, talking Disney. Got a few things to bring to the table tonight, but of course, this show is your show. We always turn this show over to you for the next hour. Anything that's on your mind, you want to talk about. Kate already speculating on when the tickets to Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party might go on sale. Possibly by the time this show goes out on the feed on Thursday. We make things happen like that sometimes because we are getting close to halfway to Halloween. I guess that would be what? May 31st-ish. And so that's usually about the time they start to make some Halloween announcements. So hopefully that happens for all of you that are excited for some Boo to You. Some of the things I thought we might talk about tonight. First of all, Tuesday, We have the sign up for the Disneyland Half Marathon weekend that takes place end of January, beginning of February out on the West Coast. I'm a big fan of that race weekend just because it gives me an excuse to go to Disneyland. And I'm one of the weirdos that I like road racing. I talked to Joe Fickus on our team about this in an email the other day. We were exchanging some emails, and I don't mind running on the roads. Don't get me wrong. I like running through the parks too. That's fun. Running through Cinderella Castle. The parks are exciting, especially when there's people in the parks and they're cheering you on. Don't get me wrong. I feel like a rock star. That's awesome. But I'm also somebody who doesn't mind running down World Drive where it's wide open, it's flat, it's smooth. And the course for the half marathon last year out at Disneyland rocked. It was a smooth, fast, flat course. The weather was great. So I'm all in if we could run that course again. And we found out this past week that this is going to be the last race weekend at Disneyland for the foreseeable future. They're going to put all races on the West Coast on a hiatus for the Disneyland Forward projects as they're going to expand Disneyland. So expected probably more demand on this race weekend. So signups on Tuesday will probably be a little bit crazier. Of course, if you're listening to the replay on Thursday, it's already happened. I'm sure the races are sold out. But are you planning to sign up for the races? And if you are, what races do you plan to sign up for? So I'd like to talk about that tonight, get some thoughts on that. Another thing that I wanted to talk about on the cruise line side of things. We were talking about this at our travel agency about 2 days ago. Pam Forrester got a heads up on this, and then Scott Gustin posted it this morning on Twitter. I don't know how I feel about this. We've been talking about it today in the Discord over the clubhouse, and it's getting negative feedback, and I agree with the negative stuff. Is that, sorry about the sneeze. Of course, I go on the air and I got to sneeze, right? That's how it happens. Is that Disney Cruise Line is testing. Dennis is in here now. So Dennis is one of the people that we were talking about this particular topic about. Disney Cruise Line is running a test right now on some of the ships where it's basically a virtual queue system for high demand experiences on the ships. Things like the Aqua Mouse. What was going on? Something is beeping in here and I don't even know what it is. I've never had that beep. Sorry about. Let's see. Sorry about that. I had no idea. I don't know what that is. I use that as a clock, and it's never happened in like 3 months. It's been sitting there. Anyway, I apologize. So, yeah, that got rid of the sneeze though, and it sounded like something was ticking behind me. You never want somebody to be ticking behind you when you're in a studio by yourself. Okay, anyway, so let's talk about what's happening with Disney Cruise Line. They're testing a virtual queue system for high demand experiences on the cruise ships right now. So things like the Aqua Mouse, like meet and greets. Rumor has it possibly even for lounge chairs on sea days. Things where guests have anxiety about running out of getting this experience. Okay. There's two ways to look at this, right? If you've ever been on a cruise with Disney Cruise Line, sometimes to ride the Aqua Mouse or the Aqua Dunk, whatever ship you're on, or the Aqua Duck, you have to wait in line, a physical line, right? And sometimes that line for the Aqua Duck, Dunk, whatever you have, the mouse, can be 30 minutes, 45 minutes. Virtual queue could possibly make that shorter. You reserve your time. Meet and greets. Cut your time in line, right? I'm scheduled at 3:44 and I go down and meet Spider-Man at 3:44. I meet Tiana at 3:44 and I just have to. There's an upside to that. I see that, right? But what Dennis was saying and a couple other folks over in the clubhouse, and I totally agree with this. One of the things about cruising is that you are less looking at your phone. You're detached from your phone. Sailing, cruising in general is a time to detach from technology. And that just brings you right back to being on your phone all the time. I feel that way. I don't know how you guys feel about that. Other cruise lines are really bringing the technology side into their cruise experience, like Royal, Virgin, MSC. I know that they use a lot of technology, and Disney Cruise Line is going to get feedback from this. I don't know how you feel. Would you rather stand in physical lines and not have to deal with your phone, not have to deal with technology as much, but be willing to stand maybe 20, 30 minutes to have an experience, or be able to schedule and go through virtual queues. There's good and bad to both. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on that as well. A third thing before, and I see people calling in, so hang tight. Third thing, we had our draft from Friday's show. Pam is winning over there with a few hours left in our poll in the clubhouse as who had the best team of the 4 restaurants, quick service restaurants. Which restaurants did we leave out, or which restaurants would you put into your team as your top picks for Walt Disney World quick service restaurants? Which would you pick? All right. Those are some of the topics I want to bring to the table. Phone lines are now open. The rest of the show is yours, but I want to have something to talk about. I want to bring that to the table. Also, I want to shout out Kelly, Ray, Grace, and Phil Scheingold. Huge shout out right now. They completed the London Marathon today. London, England. 26.2 miles. All 4 of them. Be Our Guest Podcast Lizards. Love them. Proud of them. Way to nail the London Marathon. One of the major marathons in the world, and they completed the marathon today. So shout out to those 4 folks. Glad to call you teammates. All right, we have our first call tonight. Hey, who's joining us?
Hey, Mike, this is Dennis down in Plano, Texas. How are you?
Oh, Dennis. Hey, let's go Blues, right?
Let's go Blues. That was a great game.
Oh, my God. Lit them up. Hey, my wife said, why can't we just play all 7 games at the Enterprise Center and this thing will be over? I mean, come on.
They should. Everything made that work out. That's something they need to do.
That's right. So you brought up some great points over the clubhouse, but expand on your thoughts. What do you think about this test they're doing with the virtual queues on the ships?
Well, here's the thing. I've got mixed feelings on it. Yeah, the aqueduct is something that can back up, and I could see why that might be useful, so people aren't standing on that hot deck burning their feet, waiting for their turn on the aqueduct. But, you go to the parks and you spend all day looking at your phone, getting that next lightning lane, and that's an experience I don't want on the cruise ship. I want to go meet a character. I just want to go stand in line. If I want to go do trivia, I want to just go jump in it. But then I got to thinking about it, and I'm thinking maybe this might not be a bad idea for some of the experience on the Wish class ships, because the one time I was on the Wish, I can't tell you how many times I tried to get into trivia only to find that room had been full for 3 hours. Like, people just wouldn't leave because they were doing one trivia right after the other. So perhaps it's got some limited instances that it might be useful, but in general, I just don't want to have to make a reservation just to do everything on my cruise.
That's a great point. Because, the thing is, I see where I'm with you, but here's the thing. Like, okay, and you're a perfect example of this. You're the perfect person. I was hoping you would be on tonight and you would call, because you sail the cruise lines. You know Disney Cruise Line more than anybody. You help everybody out over in the clubhouse so well. And if anybody has a question, you're right there to help them out. And you've seen the evolution of Disney Cruise Line. And for me, it's been my experience on the ships has changed greatly in the past, say, 5 to 7 years. Like, I used to never, ever purchase the internet, and I would never even touch my phone other than take pictures. I was not connected, period. Back in the day, it was just the paper personal navigators and a highlighter. And that's how I sailed. And that was it. And I enjoyed it that way. But the last few cruises, I buy the internet package. I buy it for Mallory so she can stay in touch with her friends. That's, because I feel like, that's kind of what you got to do at this point for a 16, 17-year-old girl. And I like to share stuff with, everybody that's listening to the show and let them see, it's first time on the Treasure. So I want to show about the Treasure. It's kind of what I do. I enjoy it. I like sharing stuff. But so I'm going to be on my phone anyway. So if a virtual queue is going to keep me from waiting in line for the Aqua Mouse instead of waiting in the hot sun for 45 minutes, if I can get on it in 10, is that not, am I like killing myself by saying that's not a win to save 35 minutes waiting in the sun out on that top deck? I just think sometimes I'm being a curmudgeon for curmudgeon's sake. Are we going to be on our phones anyway? I'm just saying, not to be like a pun, but has the ship sailed on people not being on their phones anyway? I've seen it on the ships nowadays. Everybody's on their phones anyway.
Well, sure. That's completely valid. And look, my kids are 20 and 17 right now, so they're going to have their phones and they're going to go off and do their own things, and I'm going to have my phone to find out where in the world they are on the ship so I can go hang out with them. Or And yeah, you got to make your reservations for like tastings and Palo and the such already. And I've only had one cruise that ever had a paper navigator. They went straight to the app right after that, post COVID. But, and I hesitate to bring up the slippery slope, but that's what I'm afraid of. It's okay, so now I got to have a reservation to get into this trivia. Oh, it's sold out. Well, then not everybody shows up, and I missed out on the trivia.
Yeah.
I got to get a reservation to get into this art, the character drawing things. And then, okay, so I did that, and then a bunch of people snapped up all the reservations. They don't go there, and then I don't think to swing by because I'm looking for something else to do. It's one thing at the parks when you have a lightning lane, and if people don't do that, well, then there's going to be people in the standby lane. But when I'm on the cruise, I don't want to be standing in the hall hoping that people didn't show up for the reservation. I want to know, it's either I'm going to go get in or I'm going to go find something else to do. So that's my consideration. And, the other thing is that, we got, once upon a time, we had free paper fast passes at the parks. Then it turned into paid lightning lanes. So that's Disney's culture.
True.
Are we going to suddenly get the VIP package that suddenly, guaranteed character meet and greets if you upgrade? And I don't know. I kind of like, you already have a difference between concierge and the regular rooms.
Dennis, that's a great point.
Level of exclusivity.
That's a great point, because once you put something in the app, it's very easy to monetize things, because it's basically just you put it behind a paywall. You say, okay, well, if you want this better experience, we're just going to monetize that thing. And think about when they put these ships in dry dock lately, that they've been taking, it's kind of like what they're doing with the hotels at Walt Disney World. They'll take regular hotel rooms, turn them into DVC rooms. What they're doing on the ships lately is they're taking, a few staterooms here and there out of the regular inventory, turning them into concierge staterooms because they generate more revenue.
Yeah.
And that's just, I mean, and I have nothing against people who sell concierge. I mean, I'd love to. And maybe someday I will. It's something that it's aspirational for me at this point, but I have a great experience just sailing in a regular stateroom at this point, and I have a great time. So, that is a good point, right? They could tier it more and have tiered experiences. Because one thing about cruise line is, I've always said this, like, once you're on the ship, whether you're in an inside or a veranda or in concierge, for the most part, everybody's getting the same experience once you're outside your stateroom.
Right, exactly. And, I've told lots of people in the Discord that don't worry if you don't get that tasting. Don't worry if you don't get that Palo dinner or brunch reservation. You're going to have a great cruise, unless you're going to go buy a bunch of alcohol or you're going to do the adult dining or the tastings. It's all inclusive when you put that, deposit down and then you pay off your cruise. And I don't know, I'm just worried about this finding one more way to nickel and dime us like their competitors do on those other cruises when there aren't as many things as included. And sure, I'm kind of jumping to the end here on what the end result may be, but like I said, there's some inevitability to happen to be on your phone already. So why not do that? But when I step on the cruise ship, I've already got my excursions booked. I already know what alternative dining I have. And I'm basically picking up my phone just to chat with my family to find out where they are if we've split up, or to see what's next on the itinerary for the day. And I don't want to have to sit there and stalk the app to get more experiences, to see if someone gave up that reservation to meet Spider-Man, to see if someone decided they didn't want to do the aqueduct and now suddenly I can do it at 3:00 or whatever the situation may be.
Yeah, because I would rather, I'm with you. So bottom line, if Disney Cruise Line comes to you, you're on the ship, whatever your next sailing is, I'm sailing the Magic Podcast Cruise in July, and they're doing this, and, they always survey you on a cruise, right? I mean, that's like the biggest thing. You get it the last night, you get the survey. I would probably say no to this, because I like the spontaneity of, if I come across Spider-Man in the atrium, great. If I didn't get to do that, I don't feel slighted, but I just don't want to, like you said, I don't want to have to babysit the phone to be like, I'm going to miss it. If I miss it, I miss it, but I don't feel like it was a big deal. Like, and like trivias, I will go and, like, if it's that important to me, like if it's 80s music trivia, and that's like my total jam, right? I mean, I'm an 80s guy. Like, that's my thing. I'm willing to sit there for 2.5 hours before and, sit in O'Gill's and order some sliders and a pretzel and snack and, hang out with people and invest the time, because that's all you have on a cruise. You're chilling out. But I don't want to have to mess with I don't want to have to do virtual queues. Stress me out. You know what I'm saying? The last thing I want is stress in a virtual queue on a phone on a cruise. I mean, it's just the word virtual queue for a Disney fan. I think for people like us, I mean, as soon as you say that, I think causes stress immediately. I think that's me, at least. That's what I do for a living. It stresses me out.
And I guess the other thing is that, you know, with the virtual queues, if you're in a park and you know you're supposed to come back at 1 o'clock, I can do a whole bunch of other stuff between, 12, 1, whatever that time is. I guess I just don't have enough information on this queue either. If I get a virtual queue to go see, the character meet and greet, does that mean I have to be in line then and then continue to wait in line, or is it going to be tiered?
Yeah.
Are there going to be some people have 1, some people have 110, some people have 120 and stuff that allows me just not to spend any time in the line at all, which there could be a benefit to that. But I feel like it's just a matter of not only are you have to wait in line, you also have to make the reservation. And that's just adding that one more level on the stuff because I haven't been to the park since 2022. I do almost exclusively cruises at this point with Disney because that's my preferred way of vacationing. And one of the reasons is it's just a lot less on the day-to-day to plan when it comes down to it.
I'm with you. Yeah, I mean, because you get on the ship and everything's just so easy, and it's ideal for character meet and greets. They're everywhere, and I don't want them. I don't want to have to think about it. Like it's just, there's Tiana on deck 5. Just happened to be walking by. Let's get a meet and greet real quick. And if you want to do, they have like the big royal gathering of the princesses. A couple times during a cruise where they're all that morning in the atrium. You do have to get a ticket for that. You do have to schedule that, but it's like a couple times a cruise thing. But what it is, yes, you do have to schedule that. Yes, you do have to, plan for that. But the thing is, by doing that, you're knocking out 5 princesses, 5 of the biggest. Like if you did that at the theme park, that'd be a miracle. And you're getting it all done. I mean, you can get your kids all dialed up. You get a bibbidi bobbidi boutique experience the night before, in your stateroom, get their hair done, whatever that morning for the pictures, whatever you were going to do. All the kids are all dressed up. But I mean, you just go bam, 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 bam down the line with 5 princesses and you're done in like 15 minutes. It's a miracle for a parent. I mean, it is the greatest thing in the history of the world. So you invest, you do have to schedule that. But I mean, that's a great trade-off. It doesn't cost anything extra. Like you said, it's not paywalled or anything. So I would take that.
Right. But, yeah. Well, fortunately, my boys have never been interested in the princesses.
So trust me, this dude's been down there many times.
Yeah. But I'm also just thinking about that hour, like, because we usually do late dining. We eat late normally, so late dining is no problem for us. So we go to the show, and then when that's over, we got an hour till dinner. Well, one of my favorite things to do is go to the atrium and do pictures, whether it's with the backdrops or there may be a character up on deck 4, deck 5, Mickey and Goofy in their tuxedos or whatever the situation may be, if it's formal night or in their pirate costumes or whatever. I don't want to have to rush to make a reservation. I just want to go jump in that line, if you know what I mean. Mm-hmm. And so, it wouldn't be the end of the world. But again, it's just that they just never seem to stop and leave well enough alone when they get to start adding reservations, and then the money element comes to it. So that's my concern.
Yeah. So that's bottom line with me. Like if they came to me at the end of the cruise and said, bottom line, like the old George Strait song, check yes or no, I'd say no. I'd say I'm fine with how it is. I'd say, you know what, it is a test. I mean, Scott Gustin said it's a test, right? And so I applaud them. Test things, get feedback. I mean, that's exactly how life is. You should try new things. See how, see what people think. But I mean, if they ask me, I'd say no, just leave it as it is. I'm happy. So I would not go for it. So you
100% agree.
You're no, I mean, cause I think it's a good experience. I think I enjoy what I have right now. I wouldn't want to risk it to try to make it 1% better.
Yeah. No need to. A cruise is vacation. I'm such a big advocate for it. And I think it's a great way to get your Disney fix without all the hustle and bustle of getting from attraction to attraction and then, having to worry about making that lightning lane or being at a park at a particular time. It's get on there, relax. There's plenty of things to do out the day. And I don't know. I think once you start adding the reservations into it, it just kind of takes away from the vibe. Agreed. And I agree. I'm with you. I'm marking no on that survey.
All right. So we got 2 no's. Okay. So real quick, Dennis, I cut you loose. I got 4 calls coming in on the board. This is a hot topic. Francesca has a question in the live chat over on YouTube, and I thought you might have this for the Wish class ship. She's actually on the Wish. during Pirate Night, have you seen Wendy or Peter Pan around to get a meet and greet? I know that I've seen Peter Pan, Wendy, maybe not Pirate Night, but I know they're around on the ship at certain times. I've seen both of them.
I have never seen Wendy on a cruise.
You've never seen Wendy? I know I've seen
Wish
Peter Pan.
or otherwise.
Huh.
I've seen Peter Pan plenty of times.
Yeah, I've seen Peter Pan.
But I don't recall ever seeing Wendy.
I think I've seen Wendy by the kids clubs. Maybe she was in the kids club. I don't know.
Well, that would be why, because I'm not there
That's
all
true.
that often.
That's true. Yeah, and I've had to endure that. So, yeah, just ask. Peter Pan is around. I've seen Peter Pan a lot, and just ask. But yeah, the characters are everywhere in the ships, so you'll probably find.
Oh yeah.
All right, well, Dennis, I appreciate your thoughts because I always respect them. You're my go-to for Disney Cruise Line.
All right, good talking to you, Mike.
All right, hey, go Blues. Let's finish this sucker off. Let's take care of the Jets, knock them out. And hey, the logo of their uniform. I mean, their jet is made in St. Louis. I mean, they're doomed. They're done.
Right,
see you, bud.
right.
I'll see you.
Hadn't thought of that. Good point.
All right, I'll see you later. Bye.
Take that. Bye.
All right, let's get some of these calls here, babe. We got a lot of them coming in. Let's see. I'll go to the next one that was coming in. All right, next caller. Hey, who's joining us?
Yeah,
Hello,
hi.
Hey, who's this?
This is Mike.
Hey,
This
Mike.
is Mike.
I like your name. What's up?
Yeah, I just wanted to talk about something a little more serious.
What's up?
I know, people joke about these kinds of things on your stream all the time, but it's no joke. I've been picked on all my life about my weight, and I just want to let you know over the past few weeks, I've had a bit of a transformation in my life, and I lost 200 pounds in the last few months alone.
Nice. Congratulations on that.
I owe it all to Richard Simmons. I miss him so much.
Congratulations.
The way that I was able to do something like that was like when I was a kid, I always had these cravings for sausages and milky sauces, and I wanted the sausage and the milky sauce.
All right, let's get to the next call. Let's see here. I do not know where that was going, but we are not going to explore that further. All right, next caller. Who's on the line next?
Hey, this is Erin from Kansas City.
God, I've never been so glad to hear from somebody from Kansas City with the birds chirping in the background. What's going on?
I was just outside walking around my neighborhood and enjoying the not rain. So
we were due for one of those. We hadn't had one of those in years. Oh man. I was like, should I keep it going? I will, I won't. Okay. So yeah, big storm's heading your way tomorrow. So be safe out there, I think.
Thanks.
All right. So what do you got on your mind? What do you think?
I was calling in with the draft picks.
Oh, okay. Hang on. We got to do this official. We're gonna get you. We're gonna get your picks in there before Shadur Sanders. I had to say it. Okay, so as an SEC guy, I can't help myself. Go ahead. What did we leave out, or what would you put in?
So two of mine that I would have picked were the Polite Pig and Primo Piatto. We ate there on our trip when we went back in July.
Good call.
And two others that I would have added were Columbia Harbor House and Gasparilla Island. Those are probably my top four.
Good call. So Columbia Harbor House was going to be like my fifth pick because I go there all the time. So what's your go-to at Columbia Harbor House? Like, what do you get there when you go?
We got the salmon, and oddly enough, like my oldest daughter, she's really picky, but not like typical kid picky. Like she does not like any fries, potato products, but she loves salmon and she loves rice. So like that place is like her jam.
And it's got atmosphere.
Then it works.
Yeah, it's got atmosphere too. I mean, it's got good food and atmosphere. You can't beat it.
Yeah,
right there.
So we liked the salmon there, and then having like the chicken fingers for like your typical picky kid. Like my younger one worked out well, so we liked that one kind of all around.
I think that's why it's popular though, because it does kind of have. It's got your typical fried stuff. It's got your chicken fingers. It's got good French fries. It didn't have Hush Puppies for a little bit there, and that was a national crime, but they're back.
Yes.
I love Hush Puppies. I mean, I'm a Midwesterner, dude. They're fried bread. I love those, but I always get I for a while there I was getting the lobster roll because I didn't know what a lobster roll was forever. And I got it for like 2 years in a row. Now I'm back to the trio thing where you get the fish, the chicken, and the shrimp. That's kind of my thing. But yeah, I do like it up there. And then Gasparilla, I haven't been there in a little bit. We stayed at Grand Floridian a couple years ago, and I ate there like every day almost. That was good. That's a good place too.
We went there kind of as a midday break we were at Magic Kingdom, and so we went there as a midday break, and it was just nice to get in the air conditioning and kind of get away from the craziness of like the park at like 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
Oh yeah.
But we got sandwiches and all the food we got over there was really good. So we thought it was well worth kind of jumping out of the park for a little bit.
I just got somebody mad over on Instagram about Shadur. I'm just kidding. Gosh, people, they're already upset over in Cleveland about this. I'm just messing with you guys. Okay. So let me ask you this. When's your next trip? We got on the agenda for your next Disney adventure?
We're hoping to go back maybe in like 2 years or so. This last trip when we went, my youngest was 2.5 and my oldest was 6. And like, they're not really that far apart in age, but then like when we got there, like what they could do was very different just with height requirements and stuff. So I think I'd like to go back in probably like 2 years when they're kind of more on the same page of like what they enjoy and kind of have some experiences where we can all do the things together. Whereas this trip, we kind of had to split up a lot.
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, that's true. What was like a highlight of your last trip? But like as far as like a memory in the parks or something? I just love hearing this stuff. I miss when my kids were younger. I mean, now they just, if they say hi to you and look up from your phone, you're excited.
I think, we started out our trip at Chef Mickey's. That was like our first night because we flew in and got in at like 2. And so I didn't really want to go to a park, but that was like our arrival experience was going to Chef Mickey's and having dinner. And that kind of just like blew their minds, like having dinner with all these characters. So I think that was a highlight. And then we went to Primo Piatto for lunch one day. And all the it was like Mickey or not Mickey, it was Donald and Goofy and Pluto came out and were playing like yard games with the kids.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like very much like a commercial type moment. And it was kind of funny because at the time I was like, this is awesome. And my kids were like, they were excited, but I'm like, I don't think you understand how cool this is that you're playing like Connect 4 with Donald.
This is how it's
like outside on the lawn.
This is how it always is. This is a normal Tuesday. But yeah, exactly. You're just like, this doesn't happen every day. Yeah. You know what? I hear this all the time, and I've seen this myself. The Riviera, it's like the characters live there in that little, like where the bocce ball area is right outside of Primo Piatto. Like that is like ground zero for characters popping out at a resort is right there in that little courtyard for the Riv. That's the spot.
Yeah, it was, we were leaving, like we were heading back to the studios and they just happened to like walk by when we were there. So that was a cool moment. And then actually when we were at the studios, my husband, it was our first time going since Galaxy's Edge opened. We hadn't been in a long time. And so he wanted to do a lot of the Star Wars things, which our youngest she was too short to go on all of the rides in Galaxy's Edge. And so we split up and he and my older daughter were doing like Smuggler's Run and Rise. And so I took my youngest over to Toy Story Land since they're right by each other. And she was just obsessed with aliens. And there's pictures of us riding aliens. I think we rode it 9 times.
Oh my gosh. You should get Mom of the Year.
And it was one of those things at the time. I was like, oh my gosh, like, I can't listen to this loop anymore of being on aliens. But like looking back, it was like she was so excited to go on it. And it got to the point like we would get off and get back on because it was around the time Fantasmic. We had already seen Fantasmic, so previous night. And so it kind of clears out when Fantasmic is on. So there was no line. And I'm like, well, we might as well keep riding because we're here. And she's too short to do most of the other things. Yes. And so she would just get off the ride, go back through the line. It got to the point where the cast members were like cheering for her every time she came back through the line. And then they eventually just said, you can just stay on after I think probably the 6th or 7th time we came through. So
see, I'd have been like, no, no, please, no, I can't take it anymore. No, that's what a great time though. I mean, it's great bonding time. So your husband has 2 daughters,
Yes.
girl dad. So yes, I'm in that club too. So he'll have his hands full. But yeah, it's a great thing. I mean, it's wonderful. I've spent my whole weekend watching cheerleading from Walt Disney World on the stream. So yes, I get it. But yeah, I mean, that's, you made those memories. He's over there with his daughter, they're riding the Millennium Falcon. Was that a tornado? What was that?
I'm sorry, there's a car that drove by. This is like, I'm not in the best location for a call.
You're not in Kansas anymore. Are we okay, Dorothy? What just happened? Are we still together?
Weather hasn't moved in yet.
Okay, good. I was like, are we still good? No, I mean but you know what? You're right. Everybody wants to be together, but sometimes those moments where you do have to split up as a family, like, somebody has to go with the young kids, somebody has to go with the older kid. You get to make those memories, because a lot of times, those are the best times too. It's best to be together.
Yeah.
But you gotta seize the opportunity. That's cool. That's fun. Well, I appreciate you sharing that with us, and the great tips, and both good restaurants to add there. I like that, Columbia and Gasparilla's. Good call.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks for taking my call.
Hey, don't be a stranger, and be safe tomorrow. Appreciate you.
All right. Thanks.
All right. Talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye. All right, 407-413-9395. Looks like we are headed out to Connecticut with Eric. Eric, happy Sunday. What's up?
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing great. How you been?
I'm good. I got off the dream about a week and a half ago, so I still have a little bit of the post-cruise hangover.
So
everything just seems a little more dull and gray.
Yeah, I hear you. Nothing worse than getting off a cruise. Now, did you get hit with this test? Did they ask you about this test?
No, we didn't get asked about this test. But I do have some thoughts on it. This is actually the first I've heard of this today. And it's interesting that they're thinking about doing virtual queues just when they got rid of all of the virtual queues at Walt Disney World.
Mm-hmm.
And I know they're going to be back. But it's just kind of interesting. The virtual queues at Disney World then, and they start thinking about them for the cruise line. I think we're at this point where people kind of expect this type of thing on cruises and at parks. A lot of parks and places do them. And it's just kind of become second nature to people now to just, let's check our phone. Let's get a ticket for this. Let's get a pass into that. Disney is the only cruise I've ever been on, and this is only my second cruise. So you were saying something about how other cruise lines do this for a lot of experiences.
They do.
And it might be a case of Disney, unfortunately, following the crowd. But while I was there, I saw some moments, not from the Disney staff, but from guests, where I thought, boy, things would go much smoother if we could have reserved a seat or reserved a moment. Like at the Beauty and the Beast stage show, the 8:15 showing, it was packed. And there were people showing up and doing something that you're not allowed to do, hold seats. And they weren't moving all the way down. And the Disney cast members and crew were trying very hard to tell people, you have to move to the center of the row. We are full. I know that they're in the kids club. You have to wait till the kids come in the kids club to be able to come in and get the seats. And the people who were being talked to, a number of them were very, very unkind about it. One person walked screaming, "Oh no, kids, you can't go. The adults have to have their seats." And another one was like, "But this is the only time we're ever going to be able to get to see the show." And I feel for these people. I just maybe there's something like this when they realize that there's going to be high demand. A virtual queue or a way to reserve seats might work out really well. Conversely, I saw some times when they were meeting the characters and they had to, cut the line off so that the character can go. They had to explain to people how it was they wouldn't be able to get to see Mickey. At Disney World, it's a little easier. You can cut the line off at the podium, or they'll walk out and the character will walk right back in after Mickey takes a 5-minute rest. But they can't do that on the cruises. So having these type of things, I think if they're smart about it, if they don't do it for everything, I think it could really benefit some experiences on the ship.
Those are good points. I mean, and I always like hearing these kind of things because they make me consider a lot of different angles. And
Yeah.
I have seen people. I mean, I've been on a lot of cruises. I've sailed Disney Cruise Line over 20 times, and we go to the big shows, and I've seen seat savers and all that stuff. But I've never been to like super popular shows. We usually eat dinner first, go to the show second. I don't know if it's more popular, but here's the thing. I know like on the Treasure, the new Moana show is insanely popular. So even when they have the matinee show during the sea day, the line will be way down the like way down the hall to get in. I mean, people line up way long before that. It's crazy. And so when you were saying this, what I was picturing is if they are going to have something via the app, here's what just popped into my head. You get to see the show one time because you can do this through technology, right? And it's like when you buy your movie ticket, you pick a seat. You know what? And like during your online check-in, you get to pick your seat for your family, and you get to see the show one time. And you got a reserved seat for that show. You pick it, you get one shot at it, and everybody's got an assigned seat, just like at the movie theater. And then no seat saving.
Or they just assign it.
Or they assign it, yeah.
So that they can do capacity the best way they can. The problem on the Dream is if you have the first seating, the first dinner, you can only see that one show. And if you have the second dinner, you can only see the other. We're assuming that not everyone's going to want to see the show, but I can tell, Donna, my girlfriend, has been on many cruises, and she was walking around like, there's a lot of first timers on this cruise. She could just, tell by the way people are walking around. So they've had a lot of people on the cruise who hadn't seen the show, and they had one chance to see the show, and that was it. And if you couldn't get in, they were very, very disappointed or upset. Well, I think it's like anything. They got to do it smart. Like the previous caller said, don't start charging for this thing.
No, I agree with that.
Something that's included. Don't make it all characters who you have to do a reserve a time for, have that be a certain way. I think they do something with the princesses now where you can reserve a time. I don't know if that's paid or not.
No, that's not paid. That's not paid, but you do. It's called the Royal Gathering. You do have to schedule that ahead of time. It's where you meet the 5 princesses in the morning, all bam, 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 right down the line.
And that type of thing, if they do a Royal Gathering, a Fab 5 gathering, a Marvel gathering, that might take some of the pressure off people who really, really, really desperately want to see these characters. That's a good use of it. Now, I mean, do you want to be able to do you want to have to get a seat for every trivia game? No. Maybe a simple rule for those things that get crowded, and I did notice that, is after the trivia game, you have to get up and we have to clear the area, and then we open it back up again, or you move it to a different location. You notice a lot less trivia on this trip.
Yeah. And here's the deal. They should do that because that makes it more fair for everybody. But in practicality, the reason they have trivia, let's think about this. It's simple. They want to sell beer. They want to sell food, and they want to get people drinking. And so they want you to stay in that seat.
In a lounge. It's almost always in a lounge.
100%. It's always in like O'Gill's or it's going to be a place where you can buy drinks. And so they don't want you to leave because they want you to continue drinking. Like the trivia is just to keep you in the seat. And I get that, but I mean, a lot of people don't. And, I will always buy a Coke or something. I'm usually not drinking on a cruise unless I'm going to like a tequila tasting or something like that with friends. But I understand. I mean, the bartenders are there working, and so I'm going to get at least a soda or something, because they're always coming around asking. So, but I get it. But you're right. I mean, I mean, I've been in trivias where O'Gill's is like standing room only, and I like it because like it's fun. It's crazy. It's a nut house, and it's more. I'd rather that than 10 people. Yeah, it makes it fun. But yeah, everybody should. You should never be shut out of something like trivia. You should at least be able to play. Yeah, I agree with that because it's fun. Everybody should get to do stuff.
Great cruise, by the way. A lot of fun. The 2 girls, Donna's. I did it with Donna's daughters too. And in all practicality, it was their first cruise. They had been on it, but they were very young and all. One of them could remember is the bottomless ice cream. And I think she had like 3 cones a day, but hey, you're on a cruise. Have 3 ice cream cones a day. As big as you want them. Doesn't matter. As long as you're not getting sick, go for it.
Exactly.
The 10-year-old, I did not know that you could do both the Kids Club and Edge. So if you're 10, she kind of got her choice of which one to do. At first, she was like, I don't want to do anything. This is going to be lame. And then after the first night, she comes back at like midnight from Edge saying, this is my club. This is my space. Like, okay, great. And the 17-year-old, the same thing. She was kind of like skeptical. On the last day, it was cute. It was time for them to have their big going away parties that they do there. They were both in the room after dinner, and we were like, oh, you're going to go to Edge or Vibe for the going away party? No, I don't think so. Like, kind of like they couldn't really want to go and say goodbye to the people they need if they just kind of like faded out. But it like the Irish goodbye, you just kind of like disappear. But after about a half hour, it was like, hey, girls, where are you going? I'm going to Vibe. I'm going to Edge.
It happens.
So
those places,
they
the kids
loved the
yeah,
clubs.
They love them. And I'll tell you what, here in the day of social media, Mallory 2 or 3 cruises ago, like they all exchanged social media contacts on Snapchat. And then this past summer, when we sailed on the Fantasy on a 7-night cruise, a kid that she sailed with on the previous cruise that she met in Edge or Vibe, one of the two, I can't remember, was on that cruise with her. He was on this same cruise with her this past summer because she saw on the Snapchat map that they were on the same ship. And they're like, oh yeah, we hung out on the last cruise together. So they hung out together. So yeah, sometimes you make the connection because it was the same thing, right?
And they did.
His parents were teachers too, and they could only sail in the summer. And we always sailed the same week, and so did his parents. They always sailed the week of the 4th of July. So there they were on the same cruise. Mm-hmm. So they're like, oh my God, we're on the same ship again.
See them make cruise friends. This was also my first excursion I ever did. We let the girls choose, and they chose to do the meet the stingrays and do a little bit of snorkeling. Mm-hmm. And they really loved it. We did it with an outside group. We didn't do it with Disney. So we had to get a cab to the Stingray encounter, which was easy. And when we were there, the guy said, we had Disney thing. He goes, oh, you're on the Disney ship? And he got a little worried because apparently some of the jokes are a little more off color if you're not with a Disney group than if you are. They give like a slightly different presentation with a little slightly different tongue in cheek. So the Disney one is it's all family friendly, but if you don't want like jokes about kissing stingrays and things like that, the Disney one might be a better bet for you. It was a nice excursion. Unfortunately, I have a mustache, and mustaches do not go well with snorkeling masks. So snorkeling did not work out too well for me, but the girls and Donna loved every minute of it.
Yeah, I can't snorkel. I can't breathe underwater. But Mallory snorkels with Pam Forrester. That's her buddy. They snorkel together. So I just say go snorkel with Pam Forrester. That's her thing. Hey, well, I appreciate it because, man, I am dying. I just look, I saw over my shoulder 70 days, and you mentioned the unlimited ice cream. I'm ready for the soft serve machine on deck 9. See, I got to get used to that. I'm used to the Dream and the Fantasy. It's on deck 11 on those ships, but on the Magic, it's on deck 9. So I got to get used to that.
The sad thing, the one thing that was disappointing for the girls on this cruise was, well, actually for my girlfriend on this cruise was, they didn't do strawberry banana twist. It was strawberry and chocolate and banana and vanilla. And she's like, what's going on here? Why aren't you doing the strawberry banana? That's the thing. That's the best. You got to put that together. So, but if that's the only thing that you're disappointed with,
amen.
I think you've had a good cruise.
No doubt. I mean, I'm a simple dude. All I need is vanilla and chocolate in the vanilla chocolate mix. That's all I need. I don't even need strawberry. I can't even eat banana. I'm allergic to banana. So it's probably not real banana anyway, but it's fake, I'm sure.
One last thing before I go.
Yeah, go ahead.
I know that when I called in my trip report, I spoke about the CPAC machine and getting the distilled water. If you are on any of the Disney ships and you need the distilled water for a CPAP, you can get it for free at the customer service desk. Where the guest services. It's free for you.
Who says Disney doesn't have anything for free? Right there, water.
Yeah.
And at the parks, it'd be $17 a gallon. So there you go.
No, yeah. Well, it's an important thing for people with the machine, so it's something for them to know.
All right. Hey, Eric, I appreciate you. And I hope you have a good rest of the school year. Almost there, buddy. Almost there. You can see the finish line.
We're out June 17th
Just
is our
so
date up here.
close.
So.
I got you, baby. Hang in there. You're
Got it,
almost
Anna.
there. Take
I'll
care.
lock the gate.
See you. Take care.
All
Bye-bye.
right, thank you.
All right, 407-413-9395. By the way, love our teachers. We're down the stretch. We're after Easter. We're almost in May. Just put your seatbelt on, teachers, principals, administrators, counselors, anybody that works in education. Strap in. You got a month left. Don't pull the cord. You're almost there. And if you got a Disney trip as soon as school's out, even better. If you're getting on a cruise ship, going to Walt Disney World, going to Disneyland, whatever it is, you can make it. Just hang tight. All right, 407-413-9395. Love all the great conversation tonight, and it continues with our next caller. Hey, who's joining us? Hello, caller. Who's joining us?
Hi, this is Jessica from New Hampshire.
Hey, Jessica, what's going on up in the land of great maple syrup?
Well, we are post home a couple days from our trip, and the blues are setting in pretty hard.
Man, I mean, you do have to come home at some point, I guess.
I know. I called a couple weeks ago before the trip talking about my son Ryan and planning his birthday with the transportation, and I wanted to let you know how that went.
Yeah, you just posted that, man, a remarkable, because everybody listening here on Thursday on the replay, and then everybody listening live here that maybe didn't see the comment. Pretty remarkable thing happened. So tell us how the transportation birthday unfolded.
Yeah, so it went pretty much as planned. A couple of things went differently, but we started off at Pop Century where we were staying and took a lift over to the Contemporary where we were having breakfast. And Steakhouse 71 became our new favorite over this trip. My son, who's turning 8, he's a bit of an old soul, and we originally had Chef Mickey's planned, and we had to pivot because he didn't like all the noise and everything. I kind of figured on the first day we had to abandon a couple of our plans. But anyway, we went.
Hang on. Your son preferred Steakhouse 71 over Chef Mickey's?
Yeah.
I love your kid.
I mean, the pictures of him when he walked in the hallway, and he just loves all the lore, the Walt lore, like the black and white photos.
I love your kid. That's awesome.
I've got pictures of him just beaming, like looking at all the original, plans from the opening days. He just loved it.
That's great. You have raised him right.
That's what I said. I couldn't have been happier. So we had breakfast there. A couple of days later, we went back and had lunch there, and we just loved it.
Nice.
So yeah, we went there. We took the monorail, and we went over to Magic Kingdom, and we took what did we do? We took a bus to the French Quarter, and then so the heat really got to us this trip. We're from New England, and we've been in April before, but the heat and the humidity this time was just knocked us out. Like, we're usually rope drop, go all day people, but we kept having to take midday breaks. So he wanted to go to the pool. When we went on the monorail that very first time, he had his little button on, and he was pointing to the monorail, and he was really excited. And I think she kind of knew, we were all about the monorail, and she invited him into the front cabin, and he got to go up to the panel and look at all the buttons.
That's
and
awesome.
It was, I just kept looking at my husband like this. I don't think they do much of this anymore. So I was super excited for him.
I'm 51 and I'd have loved to have done that. Way back in the day, I got to ride up there. This was a long time ago when they used to give rides up there, but I would love to go back up there. That's been like 15 years or probably longer ago. And nobody gets to do that. I haven't heard of anybody getting to tour the cabin.
Yeah, I didn't think so. Yeah.
Wow.
I kind of stood back because, I was taking pictures of him in the cabin, but I wanted to get in there and look too. It was amazing. But she really took her time with him and, was really talking to him about it, and he just loved it. A couple of days later, we were walking in Magic Kingdom, and one of our goals was to ride one of the things down Main Street, whatever it may be, the horse and carriage. We landed on the double-decker bus, and the driver let him go up and beep the horn and touch the steering wheel.
Yes.
So that was another magical moment. He just loved that. And then we rode on the top level of the open air double-decker bus and got off and right in front of the castle. That was so special.
I've never done that. I've never done that at World. I did that at Disneyland this past trip when I was out there in January. And you know what? That's it's a cool ride. Like I've gone past that a million times at Walt Disney World. Just like it's a stupid bus. Like, I'm spend my time riding a bus, I rode that at Disneyland. I'm like, this is a cool perspective. Like just seeing people, up and down Main Street. Like I loved it. Like I'm going to do it at World too. I bet you they don't let me honk the horn though. I'm not that cool, but I mean, come on.
I know. It was awesome. I mean, like you're saying, the perspective from sitting up there and going down Main Street and just taking it all in. It was, I passed it a million times too and thought, okay, we're just walking right past it. But it was awesome. We loved it.
Yeah. It's like you're part of the show. So now after the Magic Kingdom, so you just went in and rode the bus and left, or did you go back pop and swim, or what happened next?
Let's see. Well, we did go to French Quarter that day and had the beignet. So we took the bus over to French Quarter, had our beignet, and then we took a bus to Hollywood Studios so we could Skyliner back to Pop and get his swim, for the swim. And then my brother, who lives in Orlando, picked us up in a car and we went out to dinner with them. So he had a pretty great day.
Okay. That is a good day. I love that. So you guys went to dinner off property?
Yes. Yeah.
Was it someplace decent? I like to hear where people go off property in Orlando. Was it super decent?
I couldn't tell you the name of it, but so my brother lives in Orlando and my husband and I were just going through all the things we ate over the trip. Cause my favorite thing is, not cooking and going to all these restaurants. And he said his favorite thing was this off-property pizza, like little diner place that we ate because he had a grinder. And I'm like, I love hearing that stuff.
I love that because, every once in a while, if you have a rental car, you'll end up off property and you're like, man, because, we all love Disney food. Like, I mean, shoot, I've done 2,700 podcasts. How many times we talked about Disney food? Like 2,500. So we love it. Yeah. But I mean, every once in a while when you're off property, you're like, dude, I've never seen a restaurant called that. And that looks really good. And like, whenever I hear about a local that's like, you got to try this place out, I'm like, okay, sign me up. I'll get it. Whenever I'm out of town, I'll here. So I was just wondering if you went somewhere really good or something like that off property.
I will. I'll have to post it because my brother knows the name of it. He frequents it like weekly. So I'll let you know.
like Mike at Taco Bell. Nice. So, so did your son, was it everything he was hoping for? Because he's the transportation czar.
It was. And then the other thing he really wanted to do, he had, this trip was a year in the making, was that he built up going on Soarin' because he had not ridden that ride and the hang glider feeling. And I was worried that he wasn't going to live up to the hype, but he loved it. We ended up riding it twice this trip.
Oh, that's so good.
So he had an awesome time.
So have you guys planning a return back? You got something on the books, or
at
least
we're going back next April. I booked the Disney Fantasy Cruise out of Port Canaveral for next April.
Oh, my favorite ship.
Is it really? We've only been on the Dream, so.
Well, it's basically the same ship, but it's got O'Gills. The Dream doesn't have O'Gills, which I love O'Gills. I don't know why. I'm not Irish. It's like a little Irish pub. It's cute. I don't know why. I'm not even a drinker.
So we're going to do
fun.
2 days before at French Quarter, but I don't know if we'll probably not go into a park that time and spend some more time at the pool, which we didn't get to do enough time. We were really go this trip.
That's how you do it. When we go down for cruises, we don't go into the parks before. We just I'll stay at like Old Key West. We'll swim. We'll get in that beach mode or, cruise mode. Just hang out, eat at Olivia's, swim in the pool, then jump over to Port Canaveral, go on a cruise. It's typically how we do it.
Yep. Next countdown begins.
That's it.
We're ready for the next one.
Well, Jessica, I'm so glad you guys had a good time, and I'm glad your son got to have such a great birthday. I appreciate the post-trip report.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Well, hey, stay safe up in New Hampshire, and good to talk to you. Talk to you soon.
All right. Bye.
All right. Bye. All right. We have a few minutes left. I saw one more call was trying to come in here as I was speaking with Jessica. So 407-413-9395, 407-413-9395. We have a few minutes left in the hour. So if they want to get in, we'll try to get them in here, and then we'll wrap the show. But man, it has been a fun hour talking cruise, talking world. I love when we get to talk about both destinations. We got to talk some Disney food with our great friend out in Kansas City, adding, what do we have? Gasparillas and Columbia Harbor House to our draft. I just got to play this one more time because the draft is over. We'll do another draft here later in the year, but those are kind of fun. And, just talking about restaurants. And if you want us to do another draft, just let us know over in the clubhouse what topic you would like to have us draft. And I've heard, a lot of podcasts around this time of the year do draft episodes. And I'll tell you what was it? Saturday morning, I was running my 13 miles on the treadmill and I was listening to one of my other favorite podcasts. And these two guys were going back and forth doing a draft. They're hilarious. It's called the Eclectic Discussion Podcast. And they're drafting their favorite all-time fast food restaurants. Now, we had already done our show before I even heard about this show, so we didn't copy them. Theirs came out after ours, but it was ironic that they came out just about the same time. But you know how hard it is? And this podcast went on over an hour. So do you know how hard it is to be running at 6 o'clock in the morning, 13 miles, as they're drafting their favorite quick, fast food restaurants, and you're like just trying to get through these miles on a treadmill? They're talking about Zaxby's. They're talking about they're in the South. They're talking about Bojangles. They're talking about Popeye's fried chicken. They're talking about Chick-fil-A, Burger King, McDonald's, all these fries. Oh my gosh, onion rings and stuff. I'm just like, oh, what am I doing? Now, do we do that to you guys when we talk food and you guys are out on your training runs? If we do, I'm so sorry. Because I typically listen to tech podcasts and stuff like that when I'm on the treadmill. Not very exciting, but it keeps my mind engaged, so it helps the miles go by a little faster. Listening to an hour solid of just drafting greasy food restaurants. Whew. I was like, should I turn it off? And then I was like, no, I'm just going to stick it out because I know the show's only about an hour long. It was the longest hour. It was the longest 13 miles of my life. It was rough. All right, we're going to call it a show, and I do apologize for that one caller. Yes, you got me. Shame on me. But if I'd have let you go further, shame on you. So sorry about that. But we had a good show tonight. I appreciate all the calls. I'm glad we got to talk Disney tonight, and I'm glad that I'm back and I'm not like I was last Sunday. Last Sunday, I was a mess. This Sunday, we're back in the saddle, baby. So we're going to have a good week this week. We're going to have the shows this week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. If you have a listener question for this week, get it in the inbox in the next 24 hours. We'll have it on this week's podcast, Mike at beourguestpodcast.com. Drop that in tonight if you're listening live. We'll get that on the show. And we'd love to have you join us in the clubhouse. That's where we talk Disney 24/7, 365. It's our message board. It's our live chat. It's our Discord server. So come on over. It's free for everybody all the time. beourguestpodcast.com/clubhouse. Don't forget, our shows are always brought to you by our official travel agency. It's the Magic for Less Travel. It's how we support the show. So come on over. We'll help you plan your next Walt Disney World, Disneyland, Disney Cruise Line, even Adventures by Disney vacation for no additional cost to you. Absolutely free. First class concierge level service each and every time. Check out all the details today over at themagicforless.com. Please also use our Amazon affiliate link. It's beourguestpodcast.com/Amazon. Thank you for clicking through that. Anytime you shop online, super simple. And thank you to our Patreon supporters. You guys make the show possible. $5 a month is all it costs. It's less than a cup of coffee a month. And you support the show. You keep us on the air. And for that support, you get a bonus show every week called Mike in the Midwest. Today, to this week's show, we talked about the connection between the Be Our Guest Podcast Clubhouse, our Discord server, and something called the Farside BBS. What does all that mean? Well, $5 a month. Become a Patreon supporter, and you'll find out. You'll get 4 other shows this week or this month, or 3 other shows this month. It's the best bargain out there. And you get that good feeling in your heart that you're keeping us on the air. It helps us pay the bills. Anyway, come on over to patreon.com/beourguestpodcast. You can follow me on social media at Be Our Guest Mike. I'm mostly on Instagram and X and also on Threads. And of course, we'll have another live show next Sunday night at 7 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock Central. We're in 5 places: Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, X, and where's the 5th place? Twitch. I don't know if anybody watches on Twitch, but we are there and always there. All right. So we're going to duck out of here, and I'm going to wish you a great Sunday night. Or if you're listening to the replay, a great Thursday. And let me just tell you something. I appreciate you guys so much. We've had really, really great numbers over the past couple of weeks. It's been higher than ever. And it's because you guys have taken the time to download our show, stream the shows, share the shows. And I can't thank you enough for that. So thank you for always taking the time to support what we do. Couldn't do this without each and every one of you. So thank you so much for that. Glad Vern is here. Jason, hope you guys are doing better. I know you had something come up this past weekend. I've been thinking about you guys. So I'm so glad to see that you checked in tonight. All right. So until we get back together again this week, group hug, everybody. We're back together. We're doing great. All right. You guys stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll see you real soon. There you go, Jason. I'm just glad you're doing good. Okay, good. I'm glad you guys are good. Yeah, group hug for everybody. I'm out of the hospital. This looks like Vern and Jason are doing okay. I didn't let that dude get to his punchline tonight when he was going to go for it, which I did not. I thought I was getting punked, and I was, but I think I cut him before it got bad. And I had a ticking time bomb on this iPad, which I still don't know what's up with that. That thing's been sitting there for 6 months and it's never made a sound. And all of a sudden, as soon as I went live, it started ticking. So I'm going to explore that here in a second and see what's going on. Weirdest show ever. I'm going to blame this on Scott for not being here. Brandon. No, I don't even know what happened tonight. This was not the greatest show ever. This was just a mess, but it's always fun. And I love doing this because God help us, I don't know what I'm doing. And you get to see it live because this is my life. Like when I used to teach, this is like when I used to teach 6th grade. I mean, everybody thinks you go to school and you like learn everything there is about teaching. And then they put you out in the classroom, right? And you're this perfect teacher. No, when I was a 6th grade teacher, you got your degree to teach. And then, so I graduated in January as a teacher on a Sunday because I graduated in the winter semester. I graduated on a Sunday. I got my teaching job on a Monday. I started teaching the next day in a 2nd grade classroom where the teacher, the class was so bad that the teacher dropped the class off to music and never came back. She just dropped them off and never came back to pick them up for music class. So I got hired to finish out the year with that class. And did I know what I was doing to teach 2nd grade? No. I made it up the whole rest of the year. And I had a teaching degree, so I knew like the philosophies of teaching and how to teach reading and stuff like that. But I know what to do. And like my hamster that I bought for the class bit Haley's finger because she stuck her finger in the cage after I told her not to stick her finger in the cage. No, but you figure it out, right? And life's a journey. So why am I saying all this? We have fun. That's what life's all about. You just roll the punches. And I appreciate you guys rolling the punches with me. 70 days till the cruise. That's all I got to say. 69, we get up in the morning, 68 the next day, and we'll be there before you know it. All right. So we'll be back again tomorrow at 5:30 Eastern with Pam and Ricky. And we'll have a good time talking Disney. I don't know what the topic's going to be yet. Maybe it'll come to me in divine inspiration on the treadmill in the morning. Who knows? But I will not be listening to a podcast about fast food. I promise you that. All right. We're jumping out of here. We'll talk to you soon. Take it easy, guys. Bye-bye.